Hello, this is Black History Month and I'm Jen Scott. The title of this panel presentation is Footprints of Liberia, Japan, and the Philippines at Edison State Community College. Unless we are Native American, we are immigrants, all of us. It's important that we realize African Americans were first brought to this country 400 years ago, and arrival to this country has and continues to be challenging. As a child, I first became aware of immigration issues from the stories I was told about my own family when they immigrated from the Netherlands. My great-grandfather came here in 1927, and my great-grandmother and my grandfather followed shortly after. I remember we would call relatives still in the Netherlands when I was a little girl, and these stories and interactions helped me realize the world is much wider than what we in this area realize. And this was further understood when I went to Germany as an exchange student in 2008. Being in a country where it wasn't my native language made things a little bit difficult to navigate, and that was just me being there for 6 weeks. I can't imagine moving to a country and being so brave when you don't understand the language to do that. Our speakers today will share with us their sense of America before they came, the realities they faced when they arrived, and the challenges that they have worked to overcome and are still working to overcome. Mary Goge came to the U.S. from the African country of Liberia at age 11. She is now 20 years old. When she transfers from Edison State to a 4-year university, she will major in music education. She is an alto and plays the piano and violin and performs at an area church. Yuto Asahina is from Yokohama, Japan, and left for the U.S. in 2019 when he was 21 years old. Yuto's parents divorced when he was young, so he was raised with his mother and his 2 sisters. His major is mechanical engineering, and he plans to work for a car company or engineering in a medical field to help people. Then Concepcion, or Connie Thompson, lived in Cebu, in the southern Philippines before coming to the U.S. in 2004. A licensed practical nurse, she is employed as a caregiver at Story Point and at Dorothy Love. The mother of 4 sons, her next goal is to become a registered nurse. Now, as for our questions, we'll start with you, Mary, since you came here when you were the youngest. Okay. What were your conceptions of America before you came here?
Well, when I was before I came to America, I went to an orphanage, and there a lot of the kids, we were all make up stories because we really didn't know what to think of America. We were all most of us had never heard of it, so we were all just making up stories. Some of the stories was America, you have people do every work for you, so you never had to work. Or another one was that we were coming to America to either work or and one of the one that I thought was funny, as I think of it right now, was that America has streets made out of gold. So we're all just making up different kind of stories because we did not really know what it would be like in America. So I can't really say I really was thinking a lot about how it was in America. I think I was just really scared.
What about when you learned that you would be adopted?
When I learned I was going to be adopted, I was oh wow, I'm leaving everyone I ever know, and I would probably never see them again. And I was scared, really scared, but then I was excited because I had an idea in mind that I could work and send money to my birth family in Africa, but so yeah, I was just really scared.
Yeah. And I remember when you came, because you went to my church.
Yeah.
And you were always very quiet. You were still trying to figure things out. Yeah. So what was your impression of America when you came?
I don't know. I think I was just it's a lot different, of course. I was really mesmerized by lights and a running water, and even a house that you actually had I guess a nice door, and and I really just was mesmerized by everything around me. I was just trying to figure out just life, I guess. I liked it because I was able to like have an actual education, because in Africa, in Liberia where I came from, it was like no schools that really taught you well, so I was able to learn. So I was really happy about that, and I really like was happy that I actually had a family that you could feel like they love you. And so overall I was just like, this is kind of a cool place.
What were some challenges that you faced, and are you still getting over some of those challenges today? I think when I first came here, like I did not know how to read or even speak the language. So that was like one of the hard things for me, but it was easy because my mom homeschooled all of us. So like she worked a lot with me and learning English and learning how to write and read. And so like with her working with me one-on-one, a lot of the times I was able to like learn those things in like a year. And because I also had like a lot of brothers and sisters, as you know, like, Yeah.
so I had a lot of siblings that always talked to me, and one of my sisters and I hung out a lot. So she talked to me a lot and was trying to teach me like the language and how things work around America and things you can't do and things like that. But I have to say, like one of the hardest things that I working on overcoming or working is like in the process of is more on like a relationship level, because I feel like growing up in Africa, like your parents, and I didn't really have a dad, like I never actually even remember seeing my dad, so it's really like relationship and having a relationship with people. It's probably one of the things that I'm working on, and I think it gets better every day, and learning to just love people. So yeah,
it's kind of like getting that trust and
yeah,
understanding of people.
Yeah, because you almost feel like you were abandoned, and like so you don't want to like trust people. But over time, my family, they're supportive and they love each and every one of us. Like it's like, because I have there's like 6 of us adopted in my family, yeah, and 2 are biological, so it's good. Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Okay, Yuto, what did you think of America before you came here?
So my aunt is living in New York, so I went to I visited her house a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So before I came for college, like my image of U.S. is the place I went to when I was kids or something, you know.
Yeah.
But after I came, it was really different, like a kid's view and then an adult view. Yeah.
Now, what do you find was one of the most challenging things when you came to America?
It was pronunciation of the accent.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I went to McDonald's or a restaurant, I order something, but the waitress or employee does not understand it. So yeah, the pronunciation, communication is yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I can't understand some American accents. So you're still working on that language challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found like anything culturally challenging?
I think cultural. No.
No,
Yeah.
it's pretty relaxed. So like you're going into mechanical engineering, and that has a lot of technical language.
Yeah.
So that's something that
Yeah.
definitely got you working on that language challenge.
Yes.
So, all right, Connie, what were your preconceived ideas of America before you came?
Well, America is already known in our country because, like, you know, we're colonized by Americans.
Right, it was Spain and then the U.S.
Yes,
and then got independence.
Spaniards and Americans way back then in history. So a lot of, my friends or neighbors, you can hear them, it's nice, there's a great opportunity here. It's American dream, that's what they call. So as growing up, you're thinking like, okay, what makes America be an American dream, or the curiosity of this country. And so that was on my mind before, and I didn't really expect that I'm able to come over here. So
Now, what were some challenges you had when you came from the Philippines? Cultural, language?
it's a lot. I've been through a lot of challenge, I guess, than this too. When I came, I'm a single mother of, one. My oldest son was 2 years old and 11 months then.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yes.
My great-grandmother would completely understand.
Yes, so, and then you don't have relatives over here that you can call when you need some help and whatnot. In Philippines, we're more on family, ties over there, we're close family. And when I came, and behind my mind is like, okay, coming here knowing the unknown is a scary thing, but the one that makes me more eager to come is just because of the word that people rely it's American dream. So the curiosity is there. What makes this, now I understand there's a lot of opportunity here compared to the country that I came from. So I think that what makes them one of those being an American dream. So for culture-wise, yes, in the workplace, you encounter some discriminations, the way that you say some words, and they were making fun of your language and stuff.
Which that's because you have two languages.
Yes.
How many languages do they have under their belt?
Yes, but there's a lot of people are not aware with that.
Yeah.
It is really hard to process sometimes because there's some English that we're using that is not in the American English. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, I remember when I first came here and somebody scared me and I was just saying, "You give me a fright."
Oh, that's from British English.
Yes.
Yes.
And they laugh at me. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, did I say something wrong? And I felt like they're making fun of the way I say things. Mm-hmm. But that's how I learn things.
Right.
So that's the other issues that I have, or, in the workplace and calling you with harsh words and whatnot. But hey, this is nothing compared to the poverty that we encounter back home. So
it just depends on where you live. You all always have a different type of difficulties.
yes.
And from how you were saying, you're still dealing with some of these language and some of the comments that people make still.
Yes. Yes.
Which isn't too fair because like I said, it's really hard to have multiple languages under your belt. I speak English fluently. I studied German for about 5 years, studied Russian for 6 months, and I just can't imagine moving to a different country that I have no idea of the language or only just the basic.
And the hardest part because I know we adapt English as our second language back home, the hardest part is we're not only speaking in our native language, but it's a mix also of Spanish word. So with that, like learning English, for us it's easier nowadays because our school system really implement to speak English than, any other country, I should say. But it's still like, there's still some people are not educated enough to think about the rational, or instead of making fun of you, like just, I was thinking all the people here are more welcoming, the same thing as in the Philippines,
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of harsh words that you will see for people.
Right. And
But
Do you guys have anything that you would like to say about anything like you mentioned, like some of the harsh language, like how you think people should think about people who might come from different places? Like, do you have any like requests for people who might think about saying something harsh, but like any advice for some other way they might go about saying?
Well, for me, like, I always thought values, and my father always told us, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated. So, in my opinion, like, before you say things to that person, try to put your shoes in their shoes. I think that's the lacking for here too, like the education, not you know, only like you're going to college and get the degree. The values that, you know, your great parents, you know, was teaching you on how you treat people. I think it's lack in here, because like I said, you encounter all those harsh words. Because if you really understand on how the, you know, these people are or us, you won't say such a word to hurt other people. So,
Mary, do you have anything that you'd like to say for people who might, because a lot of times, sometimes it's just because the people are afraid of change that they might lash out with hate and mean words.
Yeah.
So would you have anything you'd like to say to anyone who might feel a little bit unsure about immigrants or people who are different?
I would just say, love people, and like just try to see where they came from. She said, and like, don't be quick to judge people, and just be a little more open-minded, and realize that we all, I mean, had an ancestor or someone that came here as an immigrant. I mean, you have all the immigrants that came through New York, and Cal was settled by immigrants. So, I mean, we're all just immigrants. So
That's where everyone's ancestors came here looking for a better life.
Yeah.
yes.
So.
Yuto, do you have anything you'd like to say to people who might be unsure about interacting with people who are different, people who are immigrants?
I want to say you don't need to afraid of correcting people, and because I won't get offended even that people correct my pronunciation or something. But some people are afraid and then just ignore it. But my good friends always correct me my pronunciation, and it's really helped. So don't afraid to interacting with people.
It all depends on how you go about correcting the person too. If you just go and say, "Oh, by the way, it's pronounced like this," instead of going, "Ha ha ha, that's such the wrong pronunciation. It should be this way." Because I had that in Germany. I had both things happen, and I remember when I was laughed at because I mixed up my past tense. And I had one group laugh, and then another group was like, no, honey, it's this way. This is how it's done.
I feel you with that, because like us is like sometimes the he and the she. Sometimes we get it twisted sometimes, but the other things is also like, I agree with you, like people, I always take criticism in, you know, in the positive way. I always look at it as a good criticism, but if a person will laugh, try to say, you know, what you're saying and making fun about it, it's really, they don't say that it's very offensive, but I don't show them that I was taken, you know, offended by that. But I will just say, you know, well, in my country, we talk so fast. So I might say the word or the way that you guys say things, but the meaning is the same. But try to put your shoes in my shoes. You make fun of the way how I say the English word. Try to learn in my language, and then we'll talk afterwards.
Yeah, and I just think that it would be very beneficial for the U.S. to put more language learning at a younger age.
Yeah, but like I said, and then that's different story because they will laugh at you, making fun, and it's unnecessary for because like he said, he has a friend that will correct him. I have children that will correct me sometimes, okay? But my kids will just, Mom, this is how you say it. But I don't take it offensively because my kids is very polite enough to say it because it's different in the way that they learn things.
Right. And like I said, it's just all about how you approach and the tone you use.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like immigrants deserve a lot of respect because immigrants are the backbone of American society. And like, language is so hard.
It is, and not only that, I think more and more that you've seen, they look at people for their color, their, but I always, like my kids, I have also like, American, Asian kids, I always teach them, don't look at people by their color.
Right.
It's just the color,
And I mentioned when my grandparents came over was in the late 20s, and they were fleeing Europe because of the rise of fascism. And the thing that I always think about is how my family was the right kind of immigrant. We weren't Jewish, we were Northern European, so that allowed us to have access, whereas a lot of the immigration policies at that time blocked a lot of people who were not white Christian.
Yeah.
And so I think about that a lot. And it's a shame because I feel like with how big the world is, it's vital for us to have all these different people sitting here having conversations like this.
Yes. And like I said, more and more, like I have a lot of friends also that, Black Americans, and telling me that nowadays they're afraid even to walk, and somewhere because they look at them different and afraid for their life, which is understandable because there are some times that you would, like as for what's going on recently for this pandemic, I could relate with that. How they bash the Asian people, we're the one who's bringing that in this country, and it's harsh.
Right. There's been an uptick of violence against Asian American immigrants.
Yes. And not only with, the one from Japan or China or, us also from the Philippines, we get bashed by it. So it's sad.
Yeah,
and
it's unfortunate.
Yes, and that makes me wonder, like, is this really an American dream? So the question is there behind.
I think the key point for the American dream is that it's something that we always fight for. We always fight for our ideals. We fight for our diversity and our inclusion. Even when it wasn't put in the Constitution yet, we fought for it.
Yes.
And I think that's the whole point of being patriotic is that you don't accept things for how they are. You fight for it to be a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Would you guys have anything you'd like to say to any immigrants? Like any words of encouragement?
Well, for me, for all the immigrants, just stand on your grounds. That's all I can say. Like, be strong, because there's a lot of, people that, wanted to see you being weak. Just stand on your grounds, because that's what I did. And I wouldn't be here for 16 years if I didn't. So,
Mary?
Mine would just be to work hard at what you want your American dream to be, and everything it requires work and diligence, and just to not let anything get you down, to just keep going.
Yuto?
Last year I felt really depressed because I feel loneliness and I further away from my home. But eventually, even you're a F1 student or immigrant, you could find friends, good friends, and a good surrounding. So even you feel depressed, if you try, it will be gone. So yeah, keep trying, and you could be fun. You could be enjoy your life eventually.
Right. That's a lot of that loneliness that can happen. That's why
Yeah.
we've got little enclaves of different immigrant groups. Like my family went to a Dutch enclave in the in Michigan, because my great grandma didn't speak English. So it can get very lonely and very depressive. So I think it's very vital as Native American people born in the States, for us to realize that these people are coming here with all of their skills, all of their talents, and all of their knowledge, and that we should respect them and accept them because they are the next generation of America. So thank you for watching, and always remember that we are to always have a candle in the window for people and to welcome them.
Yeah.